Hi, katzcradul here. I want to do a little bit of a follow-up video to a story I made a video on last week about Jason Helvingston, a College Park, Florida man who was told by his city hall that he had to dig up his 25 by 25 foot front yard vegetable garden. Well, there is good news. He will be able to continue to grow his front yard garden after the city of Orlando was inundated with emails following a Local 6 story that generated national headlines. I am so proud of you, my subscribers. So many of you wrote to tell me that you contacted City Hall. You either wrote letters, sent emails, or faxed or phoned, and I am so appreciative to you. Look what we can do when we band together. Let me tell you what the city sustainability director said. Quote, "The times are changing quicker than our codes can adapt, and so we certainly are looking into this as an opportunity to look at what the new standard should be. They've decided not to pursue a violation against him. Instead, they're trying to work out a solution which could change the city's landscaping codes." The spokesman for the city said that they received hundreds of messages from concerned people across the globe who said that this man should be allowed to keep his front yard garden. Times, they are a-changing. It's exciting to be a part of it. I'll post the link below so that you can see the whole story. Good to know that this man's going to be able to keep his garden. Now here's another story that you might remember. It has appeared in the news this past week. Piedmont officer is fired over public urination ticket. You might remember this is the mom that was written a $2,500 ticket for her 3-year-old son, who it wasn't even confirmed that he had, but that he was trying to relieve himself in the family's remote rural front yard. Well, this overzealous police officer decided he was going to write a ticket for that, and I will tell you what it specifically said on the ticket. Police Chief Alex O'Blaine said the ticket was written to the mother for public urination, and the complaint was amended to contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, this is just almost unbelievable, but the same thing happened in this situation. Many wrote in and called and sent emails saying how ridiculous that for this family to be charged in this way and to be written a ticket, and they eventually said the ticket was a mistake, and now they have fired the police officer. So raise your voices. It does make a difference. We have to stand up and push back to this tyranny. It's just ridiculous. Now here's one you're not going to believe. The name of this article from CBS San Francisco says Consumer Watch, stores requiring ID tracking to prevent repeated returns. When you make a return this holiday season, you may have to hand over more than just your receipt as retailers try to prevent repeated returns. A lady says, "I was required to provide them with a copy of my driver's license where they actually took the information and scanned it into their database." Seems like they don't like you making too many returns, and now they're going to hold your ID hostage and put it in their database and retain all kind of information on you. I don't know, but I don't want Target and Walmart and all those to scan my driver's license. Maybe we'll push back on this as well, and they'll stop that nonsense, and we can boycott those companies that are doing that. Besides which, these companies are selling us overpriced garbage that's made in China and Bangladesh, and they're going to try to intimidate us and hold us hostage and say that if we get it home and decide we don't like it or it doesn't suit our needs, that we can't return it. That seems like the tail wagging the dog to me. And then here's a story that I read on Drudge. It actually appeared November 16th. This one really concerns me. The title of the article is "Drug Shortages Persist in U.S., Harming Care." This is an ongoing problem we have of drug shortages, and one of the paragraphs in the article reads, "From rural ambulance squads to prestigious hospitals, healthcare workers are struggling to keep vital medicines in stock because of a drug shortage crisis that's proving to be stubbornly difficult to fix. Rationing is just one example of the extraordinary lengths being taken to address the shortage, which healthcare workers say has ceased to be a temporary emergency and is now a fact of life. In desperation, they're resorting to treating patients with less effective alternative medicines and using expired drugs. The Cleveland Clinic has hired a pharmacist whose only job is to track down hard to find drugs. We have a real problem here, folks, and I would have just read the first page of this article because I'm pretty familiar with the information, but I decided to go down and click on the next page, and that's where I found something that was shocking to me. And this is what it said. Regardless of the cause, the drug shortage has forced the FDA to make some tough choices, including allowing manufacturers to sell drugs that, if they were not for the crisis, most likely would have been recalled. Last year, for example, the agency allowed the manufacturer American Regent to sell a drug used during chemotherapy that was found to contain glass particles. Now, this is an intravenous drug they're going to send directly into your veins with glass particles. Doctors and nurses were instructed to filter the drug, sodium thiosulfate, maybe it said sodium thiosulfate, before administering it to patients. Now picture that scene, if you will. A nurse standing at a cabinet somewhere, opening up your medication, creating a filtering device and straining out the glass, and then taking the drug and putting it in the delivery system to give to you. Now I can just imagine all the places along that procedure for contamination. It's just beyond me. If you're not concerned, you should be. I hope you'll go check out the links that I've listed below and read these news articles for yourself. None of them are very long and none of them are very complicated to understand, but you should make yourself informed for sure. Thank you so much for the letter writing you did for the Orlando garden thing. For those of you who called on the little boy who decided to relieve himself in his front yard, 3 years old, you know, it wasn't a 15-year-old, 3-year-old little boy. We're making a difference, and this is how we can do it, by standing up every single time we see something like this happening and taking the time. We do lots of things in our lives that are unimportant, and we sit in front of the TV or do other meaningless activities when we could sit down and zing off a letter that wouldn't take us more than 5 minutes to write and really make a huge impact. I appreciate all that you do and the time that you take to make a difference. Until next time, Cat's Cradle.